Hello YouTube, welcome back to the Artisan of Glimmith. So last time round I restored the range window, but it still has to go to silver, so continue with that. Okay, we have 25, we have 6 other cells. Could be 2 3s, but more likely 3 2s. So it could be something like that, that, and that. And then just fill the rest in. In minimum of 4. Yeah. All of these side bits have to come out. So that's going to have to come down there to be 4. It comes at least around there, so this one continues. Yeah, that has to be there for that edge. Okay, so that's the 6 locked in, I think. I think that probably has to come around there, because otherwise both of those areas have to extend into this space. That has to extend another one. This now can't get to at least 4 without joining. Make them blue. I don't actually know that it's finished there, but I'm going to guess it. That one is finished because it can't come into this space. That has to come to there. Does it? Could join on and be part of this big shape here. Otherwise it comes to there. This one comes to here. The 5 continues across to there, and something goes up the edge. I think that's the only way of doing this corner. So this one can't go up there, so it has to join onto the 5, and we have to have room for another thing that's at least 4, so that's locked. This 6. Has to go like that, I think. Means the 5 actually does go up. So that extends up. Means that one does actually have to be part of that big shape. And that's sufficient. So we've got 2 largish bits in the middle. Let's make it 2. Must be easy. An area of at most 6. And I can separate those. And we have 35. So there's 1, 5, and 5 sixes. This can only be 5, but everything else is a 6. Again, at most 6, and we have 9. Okay, so a lot of them can be smaller this time. Didn't even have them in that. This has only one way it can get to a square. I think this one may have to go to that square, which locks that in. That can then go to that square. This square could be going up. No, it's far too big. And that's going to have to go to there, I think. That one could reach the circle, but then I've got 2 spaces left that I can't do anything with. Which fills that corner. This can just reach that circle. That can reach that. Yeah, so the last bit was find how to reach the blank spaces. Okay. Oh, difficulty 1. An area between 2 and 3. So everything has to be 2.5. I mean, that's one way to do it. No, it isn't. Because this has to be a 2, because neither straight 3 nor elbow 3 will work. Pay attention. Okay, so this is now a straight 3, means that's a straight 3. They're supposed to be 2s. This one is actually supposed to be an elbow. To be different from both the 2 and the 3 straight. Okay, this one will have to be a straight 2. Means this one is a 3 and that one's 2. working up to the 4s. I think. Okay, how do I get to this one around here? There's the 3. At least 7. And they're the same shape. But it's quite nice. How are we doing? We need 2 more to get to silver. Oh look, we have a couple more just sitting here. Area of at least 9. So we can only have 3 areas. Right. So something has to join around across the diagonal. Okay, so that's not going to work coming around like that because I have to get this shape into here if there's take that down to being the 9 that is required. Yeah, start here. This one has to I can join around the outside, get these 2 together. Yeah, okay, I think that's going to just work. It left 9 spaces at the bottom. An area between 3 and 4. Could go to there. Could go to there. That is different than both of these. Either of these shapes can go in there. But this could be a 4 and we need a 1. Which means that one has to be the 4 there. And that has to be the 4 there. I think that's the only way of doing the bottom part. That to come around like that, so we can put that area in. And we have 3 lots of 3 remaining. Yay! Mark of Talent. Turn 15 windows silver. Okay, What was area number? Did I do? Yeah, I did match to silver as well. Okay, I could go back and do some gold, but let's continue for the moment. Oh, size separation. Neighbouring regions must have different areas. Okay, these two fours have to join together. That gives me a problem. If I do it like that, and I can do 2 up, 3 down, 3 down, and a couple of ones. So that is not part of either 4. That is not part of either 4. That is forced. That is forced. That is forced. And that's forced. And that's the only way of yeah. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4 has to go there. These all have to be part of the same 5. 1, 2, 3. This must not touch either of the other two regions. Could be that, or could join on to the other 3. This one cannot go up. Cannot go up. You have to go both ways. Cannot go right. Cannot go left. And the same for that. One can go left if it has to. So that has to go that way, that has to go that way, that one has to go that way. This now has to go like that. That can go like that. And then like that. Okay, I'm not really sure what the problem is here, because none of these numbered regions. The problem is this one has to not be next to another size 1 area, so that has to go up here. It can't be size 2, can't be size 3, can't be size 4, can't be size, must be size 5 or more. And now those are forced. Right, so that was all about the leftovers. Here's that window. Seem to be multiple windows there. And we have a 2 and a 1. And that's a 1 or a 2. So except that this one could be a 3. That is a 3. And that's a 1, that's a 2, that's a 1, that's a 2. That's a 1, and that's a 2. Oh my goodness. Each of these has to extend out. I've got some chalk in the ones that have reached their furthest possible extent. Okay, so that one has to extend further. So it have to be something like that. That has to extend out. One of these can be a 3 and the other one's a 2. That's make those both 1s. Neither of these can be a 2. Okay. That's a 3 and we have 2s all the way around here. This can be a 2. No, it has to be at least a 3 to be separate. So that was the 3. Now if we make that 4, G, and that's a 2. It can be a 2. It could be a 4 with that one as a 2. Okay, that was a little bit tricky finishing it off. 6 more of these to restore the window. Area 25. And we have 28 in numbers. So sum of threes, two pairs of threes have to join together. So that one is going to have to join to something, and that one, I think. The twos have to head away from each other. This three could go around there, that round there, four round there, two round there, three round there, three round there. I've done that one. There's two hiding behind each other. Right. Those have to go like that. These two will have to head away from each other. This goes one way or the other. Alright, I'm not certain about that. Two goes in one of these directions. This three is forced, so the two is forced. Two fours are going to have to join up, but like that. That three goes in there. And we have to fill in all the single cells around the one. Okay, elbow, R pentomino, and W. And we have an R pentomino in the middle. So we must only have elbows touching it. And they cannot touch each other. So that means that these straight edges have to be covered like that. And there's one here which has to come out. Means that one has to be that. This one has to be that. I think that's the only way of covering those three sides without involving another three elbow-shaped piece. Right. I'm just got to finish this last bit in. If I go up like that, then I can't put anything in that space, so that has to come that way. That has to be a 3. That's a 5. Yeah. I know that can't come down there, but I don't know if it comes down there or there. Those 5s are probably going to have to just join together. Build a wall of 3s around them. Let's not build a wall of 3s. So this cannot touch that, so it's going to have to go that way round. Forces that to go that way, and forces this one to come this way. Forces that to be horizontal. That's going to have to go like that. That's tricky. That goes up, and I get some 1s, which is fine, and I get a 1 there. I have to get another 2 there. That goes up, and I get a 1 there, and a 1 there. All about the leftover space. Yay! Restore the size separation window. Let's continue and try for silver. So apart from the 2s, the fixed shapes are all pentominoes and must not collide. So this cannot go too along because then it hits that one. Cannot go 3 along because it hits that one. So it must go down either 2 or 3. In that space, that or that. I won't lock that in quite yet. But that is forced. Can only go there. That has to go up. That one could go like that. If it does, this would have to go like that. And now we're getting quite tight for fitting this in and this one. I can do that. Okay, let's see if I have any other way I can get this one. That doesn't work for that corner. That should give me just enough space to put that in there, that there. Right, now I have to take care to fill in the gaps correctly, and that's done. So that's at least 2, that's at least 3, that's got to be, can't be 3, can't be 4, could be at least 5, which forces the 4 down the bottom, forces the 2 out that way. That's at least 2. That's at least 3 because it's going to hit this 2. So if I do it that way, it doesn't hit the other, it hits the 3 at the bottom. It can be a 5. Okay. 3, a 4 and a 5. That has to go like that. This could extend to there. That's going to have to be an L. There's various options down there, I think, at the moment. That. Don't know. That. Go like that. If I put one of these around there, and an L there. Thought that was not going to resolve towards the end there. Let's make that a different colour. Something is hiding down here. It's a 4. Ooh, right. No. That could be a 2, in which case we get a 3 coming out like that. Or it can be a 3, in which case we get a 1 and another 3. That has to extend one more square, but those 2 5s have to be related. This is forced like that, which forces this one. No, it's 5. Could just come out and join the other 5. Nothing stopping it. That has to be a 1. Okay, doing that leaves me with an interesting little problem. It's going to have to be a 4, I think. And I've broken it because... No, I haven't broken it because it can be a 5. Now, if this 5 just does the obvious, and we can use a 3 to separate those 5s quite happily. A 2 and a 1. Ah. One in there. Yeah, it's definitely one of the ones where I did what looked right, but I'm not sure that I entirely eliminated other options. For the level 2. Let's do the level 2 ones. Okay. Ooh. So, I have to split these two regions up differently. And they can't have 1s. Well, I could have a 1 there, but it forces a 1 there. Can't be 2 4s. A 3, a 4 and a 1 would work if I can fit them in. So anyway, put a 1. Put a 3 and a 5. One of them, one of them is easy. It's just an 8. So only one of these can actually be split. I think. Okay, let's do the straightforward colouring. This has to be at least a 3. That has to be at least a 3. Yeah. Okay, all of those have to be at least 3. Yep, let's find the split into 2 and 6 that I hadn't considered initially. So there's say 4 down there and a 3 up here. Let's do the 3. And it's similar to the last one. I think that has to go there. That has to be at least a 3. And I have to take that space as well. I can't have 2 ARP dominoes. I can't put 2 in anything. Oh, but I can put a 1 there. Okay. So that's forced. This one has to be split somehow though. And this has to be split. Right. So initially I guessed the 2 was there and the 1 there, because this one had to be split 1 and 2, and the 2 there and the 1 there, but could have guessed the 1's there and there, and I presume it would have led to problems. Oh, must be another one hiding. 4 areas of at least 5. Sort of looks like the kind of problem where, oh no, there have to be at least 3 areas. That, okay, is that this is not the same as that or that. So the only way this one can get to an area of 5 is like that. That's not the same as that, nor that. So that's the only way that can get to be an area of at least 5. I'm not extending this one out because it could just join onto that purple and be completely valid. This one has to come 1, 2, 3, 4. It can't join onto the purple, so it has to come all the way to there. That has to extend at least that far down here. I can't tell either of them could have extended this space. I'm guessing it's the purple one because otherwise there's a uniqueness problem if this extends any further. But I'm not going to use that. That has to come at least to here, which now forces that to join on. If that joins to there, then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These all have to be at least 6. No, that one doesn't. That one can only be. That one can be only 5. That lets me finish that region and that. Oh, you, not for you. Okay, take another one in. No, I don't. That one has to extend. Yay, silver. Okay, let's have a look. Another blue plume. And start something else. Boxy, all regions are rectangular. All regions must have different shapes. So we have to have, we'd have a 2 and a 3 and a 4. And we have 15. So we have to have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 for them all to be different. So that has to be the 5. No, it doesn't. That one has to be the 5, so that that can be the 4. That's going to have to be the 2, that's the 1, and that's the 3. I think that's the only way that works. Yeah, that. It's not dragging the colours properly. Right. Two 1s. 4. 3, 2, and the other 3. Oh, area of exactly 4 and rectangular. I didn't read the second rule. So the rules have to be like that. That has to be like that. And they're all either 4 by 1 or 2 by 2. So nicely forced from that initial corner that had to be filled in. Oh, definitely 1. Rectangular 9, that's got to be 3 by 3. Rectangular 6 has to be 2 by 3, but I don't know if it goes up or across. 5 has to be vertical. 2, 3, 3, 4, oh, did I forget about the 6 entirely? Okay, 6, 2 by 3, which is going to have to be like that, except and could also be 6 by 1. Oh dear, any of them could be. That one leaves 5. Right. So that means just making them all horizontal doesn't work. Because that's going to have to be like that. Because if it's 4 by 1, well, I suppose it could force that into being a 2 by 3 if there was enough space left. But let's leave that for a moment. That has to be 2 by 3. And that one has to be 2 by 3, 3, 3, and 4. Each region contains a single symbol. And we have a total of 49, apparently. The 3s and the 5s all have to be straight lines. This one cannot be horizontal, so it has to be vertical. And it maybe comes down another one or up another one, I can't tell. The 7 now has to be horizontal across the top. This 3 has to be horizontal. Again, it can go one way or the other. This 5 has to go this way. this 5 now has to go like that. They're all going to have to be horizontal. Well, there's 2 of the 5s. I don't yet know which way they extend. So if the 2 goes that way, this 5 comes up, this 3 goes across, this 3 goes across, this 3 goes. That 3 does not go down. So it has to go this way. That 3 has to go that way. This 5 has to go this way. 2 has to go up. This 5 has to come down. That's a better way to do it. And a similar one, but they're all 4s and 6s, so they don't have to be straight lines. This 6 does have to be straight, and it can't be horizontal, so it has to be vertical. But it can extend up or down. This corner can only be reached by 4. This space can only be reached by the 6. Which forces that 6. This corner can only be reached by a 2x3. Means this has to go there. Yeah, I enjoyed that. Straightforward enough, but flowed very smoothly. 2. Ooh, Palisade, Boxy. So this has to go up that way. Now, it could be a 2x3. This only has one border. If it's the left border, then it's going to have to extend in all of these regions, and we can't use that. So that has to go to there. Which means that has to be in play, so that border is fixed. Can't extend up there. We keep the rectangle, so we have that. This now has to be going like that. Can extend another one. I think the top has to be a 3 and a 1 to keep the mismatch rule. And we have restored the Boxy window. Okay, that seems like a decent place to stop for today. Some nice progress, some new rules. Nice bit of fun. thank you very much for watching. Please hit like if you enjoyed it. I'll be back again soon with another one.